Hello, welcome to the Roundtable. In this program with our experts analysis, you will get what you need to understand today's world without having to know all the news happening in the world. Here are today's guests. We are joined by Professor Choi Soo-jin. Welcome to the Roundtable.
Thank you for having me.
We are also joined by Dr. Jo Byung. Welcome.
Thank you.
Some analysts say that there are signs of strained relations between North Korea and China, which have been boasted by both countries as decades of solid alliance. They explain the deepening military cooperation between North Korea and Russia is affecting Pyongyang-Beijing ties. Professor Choi, what do you think exactly happening between Beijing and Pyongyang these days?
Well, there have been several cases between the two countries. China was asking North Korea to return their workers in China whose residency permits are about to expire. And the number of those workers are estimated to be around 100,000, so it's a huge number. And in addition, back to 2018, Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un walked together the Bangchui Island beach on Delhi in China, right? And there has been a bronze plaque that commemorates their footprints, but that bronze plaque has been removed this year. And you know that this year is designated as the year of China and North Korea friendship, so it means something, right?
It means something.
Yeah. In addition, the flight between China and North Korea has been resumed after it stopped due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But China is not sending tourists to the North Korea yet. But before the pandemic, they were sending around 300,000 Chinese tourists to North Korea. But in contrary to this China's position, Russia is sending their tourists to North Korea recently.
Right. They discussed how to issue more tourist visas for both tourists to visit their countries. Right.
So this series of events are telling that the relationship between the two countries is not the same as before.
I see. This year marks the 75th anniversary of their diplomatic relations. So the North Korea, China are predicted to hold large-scale events and exchange massive delegations, but there have not been so much celebrations yet. Dr. Jo, can we say that China is actually distancing itself from North Korea? China, North Korea used to be dubbed as the relationship of lips and teeth. Without lips, the teeth will be chilled. But it seems like something is changing.
Right. I think, as you mentioned, Mao Zedong's description of the two relations is not as they are today. I think both US and China are viewing their strategy or their relations in a kind of a broader lens of rivalry. And for China, recent North Korea's rapprochement with Russia has been observed with mixed feelings because this new kind of Moscow-Pyongyang relations are posing China uncertainty. I think China has been keeping some distances recently. If we see the recent Moscow-Pyongyang Treaty, the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement, what China said in reaction was that this was a bilateral exchange and China did not elaborate further. I think this kind of distance arises from China's three main concerns. Number one is they are concerned about becoming an international pariah by joining this Moscow-Pyongyang relationship. China has been already pressured from international community in the US to stop their support to Moscow. So, and they cannot ignore these pressures because of their second concern, which is economy. China said they will target for about 5% growth this year as well, which is ambitious target. And so in order to keep this economy growing, their international market is very important for them. And last but not least, China has been also very wary of how North Korea and Moscow relations are emboldening the security architecture around China. As we saw the Freedom Edge, the exercise between US, Japan, and South Korea, what that signaled was South Korea, Japan were able to put aside their history for the security needs. And this is a worrisome development for China.
Recently, leaders of NATO member countries adopted the Washington Summit Declaration and condemned China as a decisive enabler of Russia's war in Ukraine. In an effort to hold China in check, the United States is moving to strengthen cooperation with 4 Indo-Pacific nations, which are South Korea, Japan, Australia, and New Zealand, dubbed as IP4. So, Dr. Jo, in the last summit meeting of NATO, China was mentioned for the first time in history of NATO summit meeting, but the expression or the criticism toward China was milder, but this time it's so decisive enabler of Russia's invasion.
Yes, right? The description have been more clarity in their definition of how China poses threat to the community. I think the purpose of these declarations are still to draw red lines to persuade China. And in IP4 and other states' documents about China, I think all countries tend to use the word inclusiveness and comprehensiveness, which means opening up the possibility of China engaging in their initiative. So yes, in the sense that the declarations and coalitions have become a lot more clearer than before, but still the room is it's left open.
Very interesting. You sound just like a very smart and shrewd expert. Yes and no. Yes, it means that China has been criticized and isolated, but no, because at least the NATO member countries still leave the door open for China to walk in if China wants to pursue common interests. Right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Some observers say that Chinese president's trademark wolf warrior diplomacy has hit the wall and it is now on a clear decline. Is it showing some changes in a milder direction, less wolf warrior diplomacy?
Well, the China's wolf warrior diplomacy, the aggressive diplomatic style, has been taken off since Xi Jinping came into power.
Yeah, it has been his hallmark, right?
Yeah, right. But recently, this diplomacy appears to be changing in a more mild version, as you mentioned, in a friendly version, I would say. And we often call that the smile diplomacy.
Smile diplomacy. Okay.
So, for example, the Chinese premier were visiting New Zealand and Australia and offering benefits like visa exemption. And this is kind of an action that shows that they want to improve the relationships with them. I think there might be several other reasons behind this milder version of their diplomatic style change. Because recently the FDI, the foreign direct investment in China, has been dropped by 28% from January to May. Compared to the same period last year, it was 28% drop. So I think it's a huge drop. And many experts are saying that the wolf warrior diplomacy have helped Xi Jinping to create the image of a strong leader who stands up to the United States. But at the same time, it kind of pulled out the Western investors and also contributed to isolating China diplomatically more. So by facing all these circumstances and also the relationship between North Korea and Russia is getting closer, I think China felt that they might have changed their diplomatic style into a friendly and more approachable version.
The withdrawal of a nomination as a presidential candidate by incumbent President of the United States, Joe Biden, and now the election in the United States is in greater uncertainty. And China must be following what's happening in the United States, right? How do you think China respond to the changing conditions of the United States prior to the November presidential election?
Well, my personal view is that with Biden's withdrawal from the election, Trump's winning probability has increased. And to my understanding, China has been very concerned of Trump returning, and especially as he designated the vice president as Vance, Senator Vance. China expects a very strong anti-bashing Chinese policy returning from the first administration. Just to drop some examples, I think Vance and Trump, they have two commonalities in their speech about China. Number one, they link economy with China, and Vance once said that they have to protect the wages of American workers and stop the Chinese Communist Party from building their middle class on the backs of American citizens. So they link domestic economic issues with China. And the second commonality that I find very interesting is they stress more on China over Ukraine. I think this is a kind of tendency for possible Trump advisees that they see Ukraine war as more or less a temporary incident than the case of China. So with that kind of focus on China for Chinese strategic calculus, this is not a optimistic view of the.
I see. So he's going to take a very long-term perspective on the strategic competition between United States and China.
Yes, right.
Okay, good. Over the last few months, foreign ministers of South Korea and China held a meetings, and leader of South Korea, Japan, and China held a summit meeting. So there are a lot of signs of improvement on the front of the China-Korea relations.
Yes, actually there have been growing concerns between the strained relationships between the two countries. And it took like 9 years for the Chinese premier to visit South Korea. So the visit of Li Chang's in last May created a lot of optimistic views in Korea as well. For instance, the two countries agreed to resume the negotiation of the FTA again, and they also decided to create the diplomacy and security dialogue. And all this kind of efforts seems to bring a new wave of warmth between the two countries, hopefully. But I think we should not be too overly optimistic because the two countries are having slightly different interests. In the case of Korea, we are more interested in securing the raw materials through the cooperation with China. And in the case of China, they are more interested in stabilizing the supply of the equipment and technology like the semiconductors with the cooperation with South Korea. So we are having like two different goals. And also many experts are saying that South Korea should be more cautious to increase the dependence on China because we have to think of the relationships with the United States and Japan as well. And we also need to diversify the market and the supply chains.
I see. So, Dr. Jo, we have just entered the beginning of the second half of the calendar year 2024. What do you expect coming from China in the second part of this year in terms of its conduct of foreign policy?
I think China will look out for two things, how the election will go and also how the Russia-Ukraine war also unfolds, how the situation will change this year. And in ties to all that, their concerns would be also on North Korea-Russia relations and Russia-China and all the three countries in relations. In 2018, there was an article, a journal article that said that what China aims for is a rich nation and strong army. And I think that definition still holds for this year as well. China set out for 5% growth of the economy. If we observe what China is doing in the military sphere, they are really interested in enlarging their global influence. For instance, China began to ask for based agreements with candidate countries including Cuba, Pakistan, UAE, and all those other countries. Main focus is to prepare for blockade of their sea lines of communication. And also they are focusing on Middle East and other Pacific islands and Africa and other global South regions. They are focusing on economy, but their global outreach in their foreign policy is still also encroaching. So.
It seems like China's plate is completely full of agendas. Right? Okay. It's going to be very busy and hectic second half of the year for China. China appears to brace itself for rapidly changing international dynamics. About 10 years ago, Chinese President Xi Jinping proposed to his US counterpart that both powers should pursue what he called at the time a new type of great power relations. The world is watching the next moves to be taken by Beijing. Let's move on to the next topic. Short form content, which refers to short videos, is explosively popular. A young content creator is at the center of the short form video boom. Our reporters met a rising star who is this short form content's boom. Please take a look.
선배, 혹시 탕후루도 같이?
뭐? 탕후루도?
그럼 제가 선배 맘에 탕탕 후루후루 탕탕탕 후루루루루 탕탕 후루후루 내 맘이 딴딴딴딴 탕탕 후루후루 탕탕탕 후루루루루 탕탕 후루후루 나라 탕탕탕탕 후루루루루 hundreds of short videos coming up ceaselessly. Just a minute is enough for viewers to laugh, have fun, and learn something. Having started as edited shorter versions of long videos, short-form content is evolving to become a new leading trend in the digital world, targeting those preferring shorts. Which sparked a dance challenge fad, was initially created with an aim to start a short-form challenges. This challenge, which first caught on with elementary school students, became a boom across all age and gender groups, with even creators in their 30s and 40s participating. We talked with So Eve, the kid creator who sang 마라탕으로 and led the boom of short-form content with the addictive lyrics and the dance challenge.
맨날 다른 사람의 챌린지만 따라하다 보니까 저만의 챌린지를 만들고 싶어서 제가 제일 좋아하는 마라탕과 탕후루를 합쳐서 만들게 되었습니다. 선배 마라탕 사주세요 할 때 눈을 깜빡거리는 킹받게 하는 게 제 포인트라고 생각합니다.
She released the new song 쿵쿵따, which is receiving significant attention from young fans. As a sequel to 마라탕으로, the new song was also created to generate a challenge for its fun, catchy dance moves.
탕후루에서는 이제 살짝 선배 마라탕 사주세요 하면서 같이 있고 싶어 나 너랑 사귀고 싶어를 포인트로 주는 건데 이번에 두 번째 신곡에서는 속마음을 털어내면서 이기면 사귀는 거예요. 제 노래의 일단 포인트는 살짝 쿵쿵따리 쿵쿵따 꿍스 꿍스 할 때 이거를 살짝 악센트를 줘서 되게 세게 쿵쿵스 쿵쿵따 이런 것도 되게 포인트라고 생각하고 제가 이기면 사귀는 거예요가 있는데 이 선이 딱 포인트입니다.
Like this, short-form content is becoming a new genre. According to a survey, each respondent spends a monthly average of over 46 hours watching shorts. This means that shorts are what people enjoy most on video platforms. With the rise of short-form content, more creators are focusing on producing shorts. In particular, while consuming shorts, Gen Z regards participating in a challenge as a kind of game and reproduces content actively. Produced for viewers accustomed to short-form content, short dramas and comedy shows are also gaining popularity. For example, the short-form series drama Convenience Store Veterans has accumulated 300 million views. There is even a short-form movie, which is 12 minutes and 59 seconds long, and costs less than $1 in ticket price. Short-form content is now establishing itself as a cultural phenomenon, going beyond being a pastime activity for Gen Z.
앞으로 이제 K-pop 이제 춤을 좀 알리고 싶고 그리고 이제 패션 저는 패션을 자주 올리니까 패션도 많이 보여주면서 한국의 문화를 알리고 싶습니다.
Soive and her songs must be familiar fixtures for social media users. Dr. Cho, have you seen any other impressive short-form video challenges?
Honestly, I didn't know that what I was watching was called short or short forms. I realized this time, but the singer is Jisoo. Jisoo's flower, this hand move with this,
the motion,
with puppy face,
right.
I've seen that.
Right.
Too. I'm glad you know.
Okay, because I own a pet as well. When I saw short-form videos first, I didn't think they would be so popular like this. Why so many people are attracted to these short videos?
Well, first of all, the short form video caters to our shrinking attention span. So we are bombarded with a massive amount of information. And so in this context, the short form content is providing a quick and digestible information, right? Since it fits seamlessly to our busy life, we can watch it anytime, anywhere, literally. And in addition to this, short form content is highly shareable. So people significantly share more content that does not impose a significant time commitment to it. So for instance, let's say your friend are sending you a 20-minute video clip. would you watch it?
No, not everyone can finish reading Tolstoy's novel War and Peace, right? It takes forever.
Yeah, but if it's just a 20-second long, I think you would watch it,
Definitely,
right? Yeah,
right.
so in this way, people are sharing the short-form content with others and be quickly adapted to the trends and memes and participate in that challenge that you just performed.
Right, so fun proliferates, right?
Right. So be the part of the culture and feel connected. So I think these two reasons are the most important reasons why people are participating in these short forms.
The rise of the short form contents have made an impact to the music, video industry. But what other industrial impacts has it brought?
I think this is a kind of a trans-age, trans-border phenomenon. According to Korea research, amongst 10,000 respondents, 75% have watched the shorts. And more importantly, the people above 60, the people who watched them counted to 59%. So it means the platform is very wide. And also in US and Southeast Asia, people watch 53% of the population watch short forms, and they buy products by watching those short forms. So platform-wise, this is an influential part. And second, I think it really changes the speed of the companies, because you have to make shorts very quickly, and as they appear, they also disappear quickly. So they have to make them constantly.
There are mixed responses to the rise of the short-form contents. Some people praise them as addictive and fun, but others downgrade them as superficial and like instant food. They do not have any staying power. What do you think?
Many low-quality short forms out there, I agree with that. But I think short-form content is an effective way to reach many people. So if you have a really important social message that you want to spread, I think short-form content is one way to go. First, short-form content is providing higher level of engagement with users. Statistics are showing that short-form content is 2.5 times more engaging than the long form, because it immediately captivates the viewer's attention, right? And secondly, the short form content is highly viral. So this virality are contributing to the greater reach and also contributing to increasing the visibility of the message itself. And lastly, the short form content is super versatile. It means if you have a single piece of the short form, it can be adaptive to multiple platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So this all kind of suggests that the short form content can boost the engagement of the users and create the participation culture across the platforms, and also create the feedback loop between the viewers and the creators. So if you have a really good content and it's informative, you have a good chance to reach out many people who are interested in it, and they will repeatedly watch it and share it and create the participation across the platforms and communities.
There must be some negative aspects as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think we might also experience some sort of memory issues these days. And also, we find it really hard to concentrate on a longer text. And there are even some psychiatrists who are comparing the short form content to the digital drugs, because it just provides the quick rush of dopamine, which is the similar thing what the drug is doing. And also, many people are worrying about the popcorn brain, typified as the scattered thoughts and fragmented attention, like the popping of the popcorn kernel in the microwave. You just pop.
Right. Yeah. There are shorts that are produced only to attract numerous viewers and profit without properly protecting the viewers. Dr. Jo, is there something that we should keep in mind when producing or watching short-term video?
Oh yes, I think two things. One is that they form a kind of algorithm. So if you watch something, then you will probably see similar sequence of shorts. My series is all filled with puppies and dogs. And so what that means is you are not inclined to reach out for other sources and diversity. And so it kind of cuts the choice of your viewing options. And second, I think it also opens up for many kind of misinformation. Cognitively, we are watching very quickly many shorts, frequently in quick sequence.
Right.
And in that sense, we may recognize it or we may not recognize. Some of the information will be absorbed in, which may be false. So we have to be careful for these two things, I think.
Information technology has been part of our daily lives, and its future appears to have no end. But the impact of short contents must be in the right balance between popularity and public responsibility. This is all for today. We'll return next week with more trending topics. Dr. Jo and Professor Che, thank you so much for sharing your insights and many funny stories.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and goodbye.